Emotions are helpful messengers. Why is it that so many of us are uncomfortable feeling our emotions? We distract ourselves, focus our energy on other people's business, or numb ourselves with food, substances, work, working out, or television to stay out of feeling what's going on inside of us. When we feel that we have no power to change the circumstances connected to our emotions, the ego will work hard to push those feelings back down instead of allowing them to speak their truth to us. This creates huge amounts of stress on our body as we resist its natural impulse to give us its message by pushing the negative energy back up. Instead, we push that energy back in. Now, blowing off a little steam here and there, or venting, or dumping out our pain on others, it's like a pressure valve. It helps a little, but the water's still boiling inside. It's incredibly helpful to work on emptying out the whole pot of pain completely to stop being triggered by current circumstances that don't warrant such a strong response. The ego works hard to keep us out of the present moment and instead focuses on the past and the future to keep us out of the now, where we would actually feel those emotions, where it can't protect us. Many physical and mental health issues can manifest from this push me, pull you going on inside, with our emotions moving up and our ego pushing them back down. Depression is often anger turned inward as self-blame or shame and past regrets. If only becomes the line of thinking when we're focused in the past, where we feel helpless and even apathetic to the fact that there's nothing we can do since the past is over. At the other end of the spectrum, anxiety is a response to other deeper emotions wanting to move out of the body, and the ego's fear of what may happen if those feelings come up and out. What if becomes the line of thinking when we focus on the future, as we work hard to be prepared, know the answer, and stay ahead of the curve. As humans, negative emotions are usually telling us that we're not getting something we want, or we're getting something we don't want. When we were young, we encountered many situations tied to not getting our needs met, but they were too painful for us to deal with. The emotions may have felt overwhelming and even life-threatening, and the ego develops to protect us from that pain. One of the strategies that the ego comes up with is a story about somehow we are the problem instead of the other person or situation. The story the ego creates says we're not good enough, or something's wrong with us the way we are, and that's why our needs are not being met. Now, the story provides a way to solve the problem of avoiding our pain by working on fixing ourselves. The ego thinks that if we can improve ourselves enough, we'll get what we really want. We'll feel loved, we'll feel safe, validated. Unfortunately, this pulls us away from our own internal experience and has us constantly monitoring other people's experiences of us instead. The urge to fix or change something that really isn't broken within us keeps us out of our emotional experience and instead focuses our attention on resolving the situation or the person's view of us that got us triggered in the first place. This leaves us justifying ourselves or getting caught in the blame game of right and wrong thinking. The story that the ego came up with isn't true. And it's up to us to challenge and change it to a story that is true. We really are okay exactly as we are and can fully contribute our gifts when we're able to be our authentic selves and take responsibility for recognizing and meeting our own needs instead of looking to others to do it for us. When we're willing to be present, we can recognize how we feel right now. And as we allow the feelings to move through us, the story behind the feeling becomes apparent. Then We can ask if the story is really true in our current situation. It usually isn't. And start focusing on what is true, on what we really want, and the ways to create it for ourselves. For many of us, just being present is enough to notice the story, and that may bring the emotions up to the surface. Instead of pushing them back down, we can start emptying out the old, trapped, unexpressed emotion so that energy can move on. Once we empty out the pot of old, trapped emotional energy, our natural, buoyant self simply bobs back up to the surface. We feel lighter, clearer, and more relaxed, less concerned and more relieved. And this lighter inner experience becomes our new normal. Then, when chaotic circumstances appear in our lives, physical pain, emotional pain, circumstances, we don't have to interpret that as against us anymore. We can begin to recognize how everything is helping us to heal, to learn, and grow. And then we can decide the most loving thing we can do to support ourselves in that situation. When we allow our emotions to give us their message, they let us know how to take better care of ourselves. How will you see your emotions as for you today?